everybody. Welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie, Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So it's our convincing series. We're doing our convincing series today, but we're doing something a little different. We've done it once before, but Mandy, you want to tell them what we're doing?
So we're doing convincing each other to read, not necessarily like our ultimate favorite books, but books that were like, why have you not read this book?
Yeah.
So I have 6 for Jessica. Jessica has 6 for me.
Mm-hmm.
We did this back, we
December.
filmed it, started it like in just like the end of December, and it came out the very beginning of January. It was a lot of fun. So we thought, hey, it's been about 6 months. Let's do that again.
Do it again. Yeah.
So these are books that, well, I'm going to be like, Jessica, why have you not read these? And she'll be like, Mandy, why have you not read these? For you, we're like, hey, subscribers, why have you not read these books?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you walk away maybe with 12 books that you need to read.
Maybe. Before they get started with that, though,
well, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you're in to win the Cala Read books here.
Yep.
Which also should definitely be on your list of books to read if you've not read anything by Cala Read. Fantastic books.
Yes.
So yeah, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram for an extra entry. When we get, I don't think I said, when we get to 1,500, we'll give those books away. And they are signed, if I didn't say that either.
Yes, they are. They're all signed. Cala sent them to us to give away to you guys. So thanks, Cala.
Yes.
So how did you choose your books this time?
Well, this time I just simply went back through my reading journal and then my old reading journal and looked for books that I really just am like, I really wanted Jessica to read this. Why has she not read it yet? But I also, because we enjoy doing this one, and I know we're going to do it again towards the end of the year, I also have my trope book, and I put in your Jessica needs to read
I
list.
know. I have one for you too, and it's very long. I might need 2 pages, but that's okay.
Ooh.
It's we can do this again. And the funny thing is the books that I chose, because what I did was I went through my Goodreads each year that I've been reading and using Goodreads. So since 2020, I have a favorites of that year list.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through there and looked to see what you hadn't read that I wanted you to read, that I knew that, like, obviously Reverse Harems came out, Aliens came out, like I wanted you to want to read these books. So I went through that. So funny, like none of these books that I have for you have I read this year. They're all from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
I have 4 from this year, 1 from last year, and 1 from the year before.
Mine are all from like 2020, 2021, 2022. Like they're from people, you just haven't got to them yet. And that's part of the reason why I chose them.
I will say, when I first started figuring this out, which led me to putting the Jessica needs to read and the trope book, it kind of started looking very similar to our age gap.
You think?
Correct? So I pared that down a little bit.
Yeah. So mine was just Mandy needs to read. So, okay. So you're going to go first. You're going to give me your 6 recs first?
Yes. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm ready.
This book is going to be in my top 10 of the year. I'm calling it. We're only 6 months in, or not even quite 6 months in, but I'm calling it.
Is it the Auden book?
No.
Okay.
It is The Fall Before Flight by L.M. Halloran.
Okay.
So we have Amelia and Leo. So all of this is from Amelia's point of view. And Amelia was in an accident and she was taken to Oasis, which is a recovery type center, by her twin brother. Now, this is luxury. Like, she has her own little, I think of like a really fancy resort with like everybody has their separate little villas. So it's like that, but everything is continuously monitored. So I know we recently read a book that we kind of picked apart a little bit on this. So you cannot leave the premises, and there's cameras everywhere, even in your private quarters. So somebody's got eyes on you at all times.
Okay.
And so she's taken there, and she has some trauma that she just doesn't think is fixable, but she really hasn't dealt with it. And Dr. Leo is the therapist there, and he is working with her on like just working through this, and this is when their relationship kind of starts to develop. And the development between their relationship is like perfectly paced and very believable. Okay. So it's not got like insta love feels or anything like that. I love this. I use this for my
Hmm.
the asylum one as
Yeah.
well. I
Yep.
love this book. It's so
Yeah.
incredibly good. Definitely needs more hype, but you need to read it, Jessica.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, maybe we should do a fun twist where we have to read all 6 of the books the person picked for us.
I would need like 2 months because being a mood reader, right? You'd have to be in the right mood because otherwise
Sure.
you don't rate them right. So yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
next I have Unbreakable by Emma Scott. Emma Scott has become one of like my favorite authors. I just love everything that I read by her and can
Hmm.
devour it. And so this one was so good. So Alex is living her rich, perfect life on the outside. She's a lawyer, her fiance is a lawyer. They're both very career focused and have decided that they're not going to have children. They
Okay.
just want to like focus on their careers. And she's standing in line one day at the bank, and there's this really attractive looking guy by her. His name's Corey. Corey is a blue collar worker. He's barely surviving. He's trying to keep, he has a job as a construction worker, and he's just trying to keep afloat to retain custody of his little girl, as well as hopefully open his own construction business. Okay. So they're standing in line together at the bank, and the bank is taken over, like, and they're held hostage for days. And they're taken to a room, and there's a couple other people. And so they definitely have a trauma bond here. They like
Hmm.
bond deeply, and lots of stuff goes down. And after they're out of this a bank hostage situation, it really starts to make Alex question everything.
Okay.
You need to read it, Jessica.
I'm fully aware. I actually
Okay,
have on my already. It's been there for a while.
next.
Okay. Next.
If you've been around our channel very long in the last few months, you have heard me talk about this book more than one time. All My Love by Daisy Jane.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to be brief about this. So we have Dolly and Hudson. Dolly is 15 when Hudson and his wife move into the farmhouse next door, and Dolly is smitten. Like she has that teenage crush, falls head over heels for him. And Hudson and his wife have a baby, and not long after the baby is born, she takes off and leaves them. So Dolly is just really becomes friends with Hudson. She helps take care of the baby bear when he's doing all his cowboy rancher stuff on the farm. But she falls in love with him, and he's her soulmate. And so she does questionable things, very questionable things, because she is preparing to know everything there is about him because he is her soulmate and they are going to get married. Absolutely love this. I mean, she's definitely like an unhinged stalker, but you would totally understand why.
Yeah. Hello. She's just trying to get him. Get the guy.
Like it's got some kinky stuff in it. I mean, it's a really good book. I absolutely loved it. It's got that age gap in there, which is a lot of, and like all these kinks and stuff. It's just a lot of fun. It's
Hmm.
a really good book. But
Okay.
it has like, I mean, it's a solid plot. It's not just like a smutty good time.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay. Next, I can find the right page. I have, and this is the one where I went, how has Jessica not read this yet? What is wrong with her? So this is a duet. You do need to read both of them.
Okay.
It's part of a series. You've read the first 2 books, so I don't know why you haven't read these 2.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've read so many books. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay, this is Across Time and Across Eternity
Oh yeah.
parallel series by Elizabeth O'Rourke. She did put these out under L. O'Rourke,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think you can find them under both names, but just throwing that out there. So we have Amelia and Henry. And this is Amelia time travels back to 1938 France. So if we just stop and think a little tiny bit about our history, we know what's about to go down here pretty quickly.
Well, there's the teacher coming out in Mandy. If we think back to our history lessons.
So this is told by Amelia is told by her sister in a dream to go back and help Marie, who's Henry's sister. Okay?
Okay.
So that's what she does. I don't want to give anything away. It's so incredibly good. If you have, so Jessica needs to read these 2 books. You can read these 2 books without reading the first 2, but it's much better if you read the first 2 in the parallel series. So the parallel series is about time travel. The first 2 are fantastic, and I don't want to give anything away. So if you've not read the parallel series, go read it. Okay, Jessica, you need to read these 2.
Yeah, I know.
You need to finish the series.
I know.
Also, I wrote myself a note way back in the day when I read this, that when you finish, go subscribe to her newsletter so you get the bonus epilogue. Most of the time I skip those. I don't know. I just don't end up reading them, even like if I do get the person's newsletter. So, but for this one, that bonus epilogue really kind of ties everything together, and I really felt just made the series even better. So make sure you read that.
Okay.
Can you hear the plane? My window's open. Sorry. My neighbor's flying by. I live next to an international airport.
Yeah, right. I'm used to hearing noises like that.
It's a grass field with a Cessna.
It is, yeah. I'm used to that just because the train goes through here all the time, so I don't hear things. I don't pay attention to things like that.
Okay. Next. Another book that's definitely going to be on my favorites list that was also in the age gap.
You think?
Older by Jennifer Hartman. So here we have Hallie. Such a tongue twister for me. I don't know why.
You always do that.
I know. Hallie.
Yeah.
And Reed. Hallie it's very emotional to read at the beginning. And if you've read anything by Jennifer Hartman, you know she can do emotional. It's very emotional, a little tough to get through, but just power through. Hallie is treated horribly. Like her family is just very abusive, and it's very sad situation. And she is at a party avoiding her home life, basically. And she meets this guy, Reed, who's there looking for his teenage daughter. And they have some chemistry, and things start to escalate between them, and something happens that abruptly stops that. And then we fast forward a little bit in time, not too bad, but just a little bit forward. And Hallie's best friend and her mom discover what's been happening to Hallie. And they take her in. And Hallie's dad is coming over for dinner one night, and he's moved away for a while, and he's just moved back, and he's working on like repairing his relationship with his daughter. And he comes over for dinner, and it is Reed. So I love a good taboo age gap, and we definitely have that happening here because this is his daughter's best friend. Also, he's trying to repair a relationship with said daughter, but there is definitely a chemistry bond pull between the two of these people, and I love it. It's set in the 90s, so there's a lot of 90s references to music, and I absolutely loved it because I love 90s music, because that was like my jam.
You think? A little bit.
Jessica, read this, and if the rest of you haven't read it, definitely read it. It's really good.
Okay,
do you know what the last book is going to be?
I have no freaking clue.
Well, you should. I've only been begging you to read this freaking book for about 2.5 years now. Do you know what it is?
Is it the same one you had the last time we did this video?
I didn't put it in the last one. I double checked.
Okay, then no. Tell me.
Perfect Strangers.
Okay, so Perfect
I gotta find where I put mine. Okay.
So Perfect Strangers, I know. J.T. Geisinger, you've been beating me to read this one.
Why? Why won't you read it? I need someone to talk to about this book.
I started it and I wasn't in the mood for it, and then I just haven't gone back.
Okay. We have this is romantic suspense, I suppose I should start with that. So we have Olivia, who's spending the summer in Paris, and she is a writer. A tragedy happened, and she's just trying to get back to writing and heal. Okay, so she's borrowing, or not really subletting, her a friend let her use this apartment in Paris. So she's from the States, so she's using this apartment in Paris for the summer. Okay, trying to just get her groove back and heal, like I said. Okay, so she meets James, and they decide to only use first names only and have a summer fling. This is definitely a book you want to go in blind, so that's all I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I
All right.
need someone to talk to about this book, because I literally read this book over 2.5 years ago.
And I literally
Please.
had it on my Kindle for that long because I saw a thing for it. It was a new release, I think, at the time. And I was like, Mandy, this sounds so good. You have to go read this book. You immediately went and read it, and I didn't. And you've been mad at me ever since. So it's not funny at all.
Suck.
Okay. All right. So
Maybe
now
it's only been 2 years since I read it. Maybe it's not 2.5 years. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. It's been a while because I look at it when I'm trying to find something to read, and I'm always like, man, I'm not in the mood. And I just move on. Okay. So you ready for your 6 recs?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first one I have for you is Mafia. Shocker. I know. Shocker. And that is Mafia Mistress by Mila Finelli. This is about Fausto and Francesca. So Francesca lives in Canada. Her dad is a part of a mafia situation there. And one day this guy shows up. He's from Italy, and he's there to take her back to Italy to marry his son. She has no clue that that's what's going on, but that's what's going on. So he abducts her because she tries to escape. He abducts her. This is Fausto. He takes her back to Italy as his captive to marry his son for the sake of the mafia, because he's the head of the Italian branch of this mafia. And she doesn't want to marry his son. There's other things that are happening. And at one point he decides that, this little firecracker is going to be mine and not my son's, and she's going to be my mistress. I'm not getting married again. I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to keep her as my mistress. The banter in this one, the back and forth, loved it so much. It is a duet. There is a book too, but both are on audio, and just so yummy. The whole series is yummy. Okay. The next book that I have for you is historical, but you've been getting into historical lately, so I really want you to read this one. Like, I really want you to read this one. And it is on audio. And I remember you laughed at me one time when I was telling you about it, and I don't know why. Now that you read historical, I don't know. Okay.
Why did I laugh?
I don't know. Maybe because I did like a whole binge series. I binged these at Christmas time last year, the year before. And I don't know.
Okay.
It was 2 years ago, two Christmases ago, because I remember where my Christmas tree was while I was binge reading. Anyhow, so this is Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I love all 5 of the books that she has in this little world here. So this is about oh crud almighty, I left my notes here. Evelyn. There it is. Woo! Okay, so this is about Evelyn and Graham. So everybody believes that Evelyn is touched. She had a fall off of a horse when she was little, or when she was young, and she had a high fever afterwards, and they all think that she kind of just lost her marbles at that point. What they don't know is that she's deaf. She can't hear them. She can hear certain timbers, like really low timbers, but she's played up the whole dumb thing because her parents were going to have her marry this other guy who was extremely cruel, and she didn't want to do that. He was very cruel to her, and she didn't want to be this guy's wife, so she played up the whole dumb part. So then you have Graham. He is from a rival family. He is a laird of a rival clan, and the king has come to them and said, I'm tired of the fighting. You're getting married. So he thinks he's marrying someone who doesn't have all her faculties. She's touched. And so he's like, I'm never going to have an heir. I'm never going to have a real relationship because I'm never going to force myself onto someone who has the mentality of a child. And so he's going into this marriage, first of all, not wanting it. He's being forced into it. And then knowing that he's never going to have a real marriage is just really hard on him. So he goes to pick up his bride at her family's estate. And when he meets her, she can hear the timbre of his voice. And so she's immediately drawn to this guy because she wants to get away and she wants to have a family and a life. So, it is really, really good, but they all think that she's touched in the head when she's not. It's really good. There is audio for it.
Okay.
I think there's audio for everything I have on this list, just so you know. Okay, so then I have one that was a favorite of mine last year. It's very angsty and emotional. And this is Unbreak My Heart.
Hold on.
What?
You found it emotional?
Yes. I mean, I didn't cry.
Oh.
But it is angsty. So, Unbreak My Heart by Nicole Jacqueline. So this is about Kate and Shane. So Kate's parents and Aunt and Uncle are both foster parents. They fostered when they were younger. And Shane was brought in as a foster child. And I can't remember if it was to her parents or to her, I think it was to her aunt and uncle when she was 17. And when he was 17, she was like early teens, 13, she maybe 12, but she was very early on. She had this huge crush on him. And they were friends, but then that kind of turned to a little bit of animosity. That it just, I don't know, it was just a little weird for them. When she goes up to college, she comes home, she brings her best friend. And Shane and the best friend end up hitting it off and they get married. And then we have, years down the road, Shane is in the military and he's gone. He's deployed all the time. And so Kate stays home and helps the best friend, because she's still her best friend, take care of the kids. They have like 4 kids at this point, or 3 kids, and they're pregnant with the 4th. And so there's an accident. The best friend doesn't survive. This all happens in the very first chapter. And Kate has always been like the second mom to these kids because Shane has been deployed this whole time. I mean, he's gone all the time. So she's the one that was there. And so she steps up to help him with the kids because they're like her babies, but she has to play by his rules because they're his kids. She has no claim to these kids at all. There's still the attraction between her and him. He's denied it for so long, but it's very angsty. It's very emotional. You have a newborn baby and a bunch of little ones. It's very good. It's very good. So there's that one. Just put my book away. Then I have, this one. I can't believe you haven't read this one yet. This is extremely popular. I read it before I started refusing to read extremely popular books. But I wanted to include it in this list because I feel like you really need to read this one. So that is The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen. So this is kind of Mafia adjacent, I would say. So you have 19-year-old Francesca. She is a Mafia princess. And she has been in love with this boy that's a part of their Mafia forever. He is who she wants to give her first kiss to. He is like who she sees herself with. I think he's just a soldier, if I remember right. But that's Angelo. That is her boyhood love. So she is at this party, this ball, this gala one night. And they're all wearing masks. And this guy ends up kissing her. And it's not Angelo, which is why they call it the kiss thief. He stole her first kiss. And that is Wolf Keaton. Now, he's a senator, but he eventually wants to go higher up. And he has some leverage over her father. So she is basically sold in marriage to Wolf. And she's devastated because all her life, all she's ever wanted was Angelo. And so she is forced to marry Wolf, and he's not very kind to her. And their marriage is very tumultuous, but it is so good. I love this story so much. So I know it's one of the more popular ones, but I still think you need to read it because it is just that good. Okay. Then I have Kingdom Fall by A. Zavarelli. We will see A. Zavarelli in Phoenix when we go to Phoenix in 2025. She was supposed to be in Vegas, but she's not on the list now. So, and I haven't seen any announcements, but okay. So this is about Alessio and Natalia. Alessio is in the Mafia. He's in it's Underworld King, so he's not necessarily in the Mafia. It's kind of like a crime syndicate. And he has a little boy that needs a nanny. And that is where Natalia is brought in as the nanny. This is not necessarily something she's done a lot of, but she is brought in as the nanny. And she can't speak. Something happened. She can't speak. She's a sign language, so she starts teaching the little boy sign language. But the dad is gone a lot, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot to the story. There's just a lot. It's like she sleeps in her clothes with her shoes on, with the lights on, and we don't know why. There's this there. I can't really tell you much more than that because there's just so much in this book. But she's a nanny to a little boy. And by the way, our hero is a virgin. So figure that one out. Okay, next. Can see you trying to figure that one out. Next, we have Reaper's Property by Joanna Wild. This is a MC romance. This one has been around for a very long time, but it was one of my very first MC romances, like first 5 MC romances. I had an MC romance binge when I first started really getting into reading romance. So this is about Horse and Marie. Horse is his road name, but he's named that appropriately. Anyhow, so this actually takes place in Eastern Washington. A lot of it happens at like the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area, but it is Eastern Washington where it happens. So Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Anyhow, so Marie is, she's fled. She's left her abusive husband. He beat her. She left. She's gone home to live in this crappy trailer with her brother, Jeffrey. And, Jeffrey is like a tech genius. Like he's very good with computers. Not mine. But anyhow, so then mine asks me how to use Excel all the time. How do I do this in Excel? Anyhow, so Jeffrey is hired on by the MC to do work for them, but he's doing work that he probably shouldn't be, and he's at the casino quite often. And so during this time of him working with the MC comes to their crappy trailer all the time to talk with Jeff, and that is where she first meets Horse. And she and Horse have an attraction, but she doesn't understand the MC life at all. And so when he asks her to be his old lady, she takes offense to that. She has no clue. And Horse gets butthurt by the fact that she said no, and devises a way to take her, to keep her as his, because, hey, you denied me, so you don't get to be my old lady, but you can be my hoe. So there's some stuff with the brother too. So that is that one. So yes, all of these, and I'm sure I did not do it justice at all, but it is really good. All of these are, and yes, they are Hell's Angels MC. Let's just put it that way. All of mine have audio, just so you know. There's all audio for all of them. So, okay. So that was your 6.
What are you picking?
I think for the sake of our friendship, I have to pick Perfect Strangers. I think that was just kind of a have to. I think I'm going to get in a lot of trouble if I don't. So I'm going to go with Perfect Strangers. What are you going to pick?
Are you really?
Yeah.
You're not going to call me later and be like, I changed my mind.
Nope. I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I love you. I'm doing it.
Sweet.
Plus, it's already on my Kindle.
I think I'm going to pick all 6.
Okay, but what are you going to read for this video?
Let me think. They all sound good, and you've talked about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling like Mafia Mystery or Reaper's Property, but then I'm like, I also need to read some A's of Early, but I have plenty of time to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm
going to go with Reaper's Property. I haven't read an MC in a while, so that just sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Is this like book one in a series or okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly re-listened to it last night. When I was making this list, all these books are just ones that I really love that I was like, I really want to do a reread of Reaper's Property, but now I want to reread the whole series because I haven't reread any of them and I don't remember what the rest of the series was about. But Reaper's Property I do because I listened to that.
Sorry.
I re-listened to that for a second time when I was in the hospital when I had my infection. And so that one just stands out for some reason. But
Okay.
all right. So we will be back after we've read these. And
We will.
We'll see how we liked them. All right. So
we've read our books.
We've read our books.
Who's going first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So you read Reaper's Property, right?
Reaper's Property.
Yep.
I rated it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I plan to continue on with the series.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah. I think I rated it a 4 too. That's what it was for me. They were all 4s. You know, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff was an ass.
Yeah. Her brother.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, my husband? No. How was my husband an ass in this book? No, her brother. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Poor kid. All right. So I read Perfect Strangers by J.T. I really liked it. I got to that point where I texted you and I was like, oh my gosh. I will say, like, the first half, I was like, are we gonna get, like, I was getting kind of bored in the first half, and then we get to that part, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was, threw me for a friggin' loop. And then even, like, the epilogue threw me for a loop, and I was like, oh. So, this one was very unique. And
yes.
I think we've said before, like, J.T. Geisinger isn't afraid to do that. She did that in this book. She's done it in Pen Pal. This does not end like Pen Pal, just so everybody knows. But it doesn't have a traditional happy ending. It throws you for a loop. I gave it a solid 4 stars. It would have been higher if I wasn't getting kind of bored in the beginning, but I so loved it. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
I rated it 4 stars too. Yeah.
It was just so different. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. Very different. Yeah. I actually wanted to throw the book at one point. I'm like, what?
Well, that's when I texted you, and I texted you WTF. And you were like, oh, are you reading Perfect Strangers?
So I read Pen Pal right after it came out because you read it and you're like, you have to read this. So I read it. And then Perfect Strangers came out like 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I read Perfect Strangers, and it also has like, it's very unique and different. Mm. And so then the next J.T. Geisinger book I read was the buddy read one that we did, that we all just were like, like we didn't love it, we didn't hate it. It was just But the whole time I was reading it, I felt so jumpy because I was waiting, and she doesn't do that in that series. And so I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Like, you just never know when it's gonna happen in one of her books. It could be like completely mainstream and contemporary and nothing weird, and then you pick up one of these books and you're like, mother bear. So yeah,
it made those 2 books made it hard for me to like read her without being like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, wait exactly. A minute. Yeah, just got you on edge. So
yes.
All right. So that was it. I love doing it when we do it like this. I think it's so fun when we do the combined one. So
I love it too.
I do too. So we'll do another one again. Yeah.
We are. Our next convincing is going to be a combo too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
We're excited for it.
Yes, we are. All right.
Okay, if you have suggestions for our next convincing, whether it's a combo video or you want me to convince Jessica to read something or Jessica to convince me to read something, leave it in the comments. We love to take your suggestions and try and make those work for what books we've read and what videos we think we can pull off. So leave us those comments below. Also, make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and hit that subscribe button and that notification button so you can see when we drop new videos.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.